The old narrative of a football career looks something like this. You're born in an extremely poor neighborhood in Latin America. You join your local club to have a chance to be seen by a passing by football agent or scout that gets you a trial at an important football club. You play in the younger divisions to finally make it to the first team and buy your family a house. Eventually, you score lots of goals and a big club in Europe decides to bet on you and signs you. Now, it's time to show your skill. You play until 35 in a bunch of clubs and win lots of silverware, then retire, to then become a manager.
But wait, this story sounds extremely motivational and emotional, but if you think about it, the odds of you being the chosen one are extremely low. Just imagine you were born in Africa or some parts of Asia with little to no interest in football. You might be better than Messi, but no one will know because there aren't teams that attract important European clubs to sign you.
Let's use the example Africa. Obviously, there are cases, but if you think about it, the presence of African players raised in their home nations, playing in Europe, used to be quite low. In fact, most of the real successful ones had to leave Africa to join a team in Europe and begin his journey there. This is still a reality for many players in Latin America as well. Football clubs always knew this, and after capitalism began to get modernized to what it has become today, clubs had to formulate business plans to grow, meaning that with less money they had to buy better players in order to sell their TV rights more expensively and be more profitable. The issue was clear. The good young players available in Europe were too expensive and surely there's better talent in the rest of the planet. In simpler words, clubs with less money wanted to decrease the amount of luck a player needed to be seen in order to get a top talent and win silverware. Initially, this gave birth to Moneyball, a scouting technique focused on big data analysis that allows teams to know what they are lacking and what players can provide them with a solution to their problems, in numbers. In 2016, Leicester City won the Premier League using this method, popularizing the strategy.
So, this leads us to two new problems. The first one is the fact that it does not really matter if your player is great, he has 97% passing accuracy. If he's overweight or he has a drinking issue, then you might just want a different alternative. The second problem is the fact that sometimes scouts find players who could fit greatly in the squad, but in that particular moment you happen to have a better player in that position.
Buying him and loaning is a good choice, but it is risky as it's difficult to guarantee game time. The magical solution came from Saudi Arabia, people with enough money to own not one but many clubs in the world and to start a network of teams with similar football playstyle. This means that now a player could be great in the streets of Mumbai, join a club owned by the city group there, which does not need to be self-sufficient as they are supported by a bigger structure, much more profitable as Manchester City is, develop his football skills as the group wants and eventually scale in the triangle of football clubs to one day, perhaps, join one of the top ones or to be sold for a good price.
This is great, especially for teams that tend to be run by poor administrators or have corrupted chairmen, but is it?
Apart from the fact that the more this practice gets popularized, the more common it will be to watch games of two football clubs owned by the same people, deteriorating the competitive aspect of the game, there is a bigger problem that we must talk about. Football clubs are not regular enterprises. Even though they act as ones, they are instead social institutions whose value comes from its history and the community they represent. The fact that a financial group acquires them and runs them with external interests does benefit the club as an enterprise, but does not contemplate the fact that it makes them lose their identity, changing stems, traditions, and internationalizing the institution. This is important in the social aspect, as communities like having things that represent them, and it gives lots of joy to the sport when there is a derby and the fans, the media, the club president want to represent the fans as it happens in games in Latin America, where marketing the club isn't an effective strategy yet.
But looking at the bright side, we have to accept this as a natural event. Things change and it is not logical to think that football must stay as it is. Still, I believe that these events will make football way different, since new teams will start to develop a new identity, helped by the new people that we want to watch new football.
Football is a sport stolen by the rich, they say. And perhaps you can agree with this statement, but it would be wrong to say that the acquiring of the big teams by the richest people in the world did end with the offer of cheap football. In the end, what the big clubs have done is to bump the level of the sport to a point where we see humans exploiting their capabilities to extreme, getting paid what it costs as it's very easy to sell.
But what professional football used to be is now available to watch in lower divisions. Not maybe at the same level, but surely with the same emotion.
Consequently, if professional football becomes awkwardly commercial, then amateur and lower league football will have a business opportunity to grow and become the sport we all used to watch, with signings, important games, and others. The fact that the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga become a product for few people will allow other teams to try to convince fans that can't afford to pay the price of those games, to watch their games, increasing cash flow and becoming one day as good as football was before multi-ownership.
This is again a cycle. Football is on safe hands. Thank you so much for watching.
But now it is your turn to comment and discuss my words. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing and liking this video.